Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Growing the footprint. Rockford City Market wants to expand downtown, but some local business owners say that plan will hurt them. Plus, a young teenager accused in a carjacking and chase, where police say he stole the car from a 61-year-old woman. And promoting Illinois, the new push to encourage tourism in the land of Lincoln. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy. Erica is off tonight. Rockford City Markets become a summer staple. Thousands of people stop by booths and try out local foods downtown, which is why they want to expand the footprint. But other local businesses say that will cut into their profits this summer. Here's a look at what organizers of City Market want. East State Street shut down between Wyman and First Street, and Madison from Walnut past Jefferson. At last week's committee meeting, aldermen voted to change the expansion to only shut down East State Street from Wyman to Madison. But local business owners say their problem is East State Street. They don't want that shut down at all since it's a major thoroughfare through downtown.
There's only one two-way street that takes you across the river. So in order to get back and forth across the river for events, if you're using a car, you have to go all the way to Jefferson over to Walnut. And it's not necessary. The city market lived for 10 years in a smaller footprint. They built a pavilion. It was beautiful. It worked with the businesses, and we were happy to have them downtown.
Rockford City Council will consider the changes at tonight's meeting. It starts at 5:30. We'll have someone there and bring you the latest tonight. A 14-year-old Rockford boy is charged with stealing a woman's car at gunpoint and leading state police on a chase. Saturday evening, a 61-year-old woman said she agreed to give a teenager a ride from the Schnucks parking lot on Charles. But as they were leaving, she said he pulled a gun on her. She got out and the teen drove off. About 5 hours later, Illinois State Police saw the stolen car and tried to pull it over, but the driver took off. The car was seen again on 8th Street and 11th Avenue. Officers say 4 people got out of the car and went into an apartment. Officers asked them to come out, and 6 people eventually walked out the front door. Only the 14-year-old was arrested and charged. He was booked into the Juvenile Detention Center. 2 local pharmacies are robbed on Easter. Now police are trying to find the thieves. The first happened around 6 yesterday morning at the CVS on South Alpine. A man walked into the store and brought items up to the counter. That's when police say he threatened the clerk with a gun and demanded cash. The man was wearing a black puffy coat and blue sweatpants with a red patch on the left knee. Then about 3 hours later, police say this man robbed the Walgreens on East State and 9th Streets. Police say the man walked in and was talking with the cashier when he pulled out a gun and demanded cash. The man was wearing a tan coat with light-colored jeans and a medical mask. If you know anything about either robbery, call police. Freeport Police ask for your help finding the man who robbed a gas station over the weekend. Police say he walked into the Mobil on West Galena Avenue Saturday. He tried to get behind the counter and fought with the store worker. That attendant has minor injuries. Police say the thief was able to get his hands on cash and other items before running away. If you know anything about the robbery, call Freeport Police or State Line Area Crime Stoppers. A well-known Abraham Lincoln impersonator from Freeport pleads guilty to child pornography. Back in 2020, George Buss was arrested for having child porn as well as patronizing a prostitute. He entered a guilty plea last week in Stephenson County. On both counts, Buss will be sentenced in June. For more than 30 years, he played the former president at local schools and even impersonating Lincoln on the national stage. Just days after extending the federal mask mandate on public transportation, a judge strikes down the order. A federal judge in Florida voided the national mask mandate covering planes, buses, and trains. She said the mandate is going over the authority of U.S. health officials in the COVID-19 pandemic, and that the CDC failed to justify its decision and did not follow proper rulemaking. A lawsuit was filed in July of 2021. No word yet on if the government will appeal or not. It is tax day, the deadline to file and pay both federal and state income taxes. The IRS expects to receive tens of millions of last-minute electronic and paper filings. And this year, the agency estimates about 40% of Americans are waiting to file or request an extension on the last day. If you're not ready, tax preparers suggest request an extension now.
The laws haven't changed that much, but the complexity of some of the returns are greater and requires more time and care to make sure that they're filed properly and accurately.
Taxpayers requesting an extension will have until October 17th to file a return. But if you owe taxes, you still have to send payments today. More Americans are expected to travel this year after 2 years of shutdowns due to the pandemic. The state of Illinois is hoping to catch some of those tourism dollars. Today, the governor announced a new tourism campaign. It's called The Middle of Everything. The new campaign ads are directed and star Illinois native Jane Lynch. The state tourism site also has suggested itineraries for trips throughout the state.
The Middle of Everything campaign highlights what Illinois is really all about. We're the heart of America, one of the largest and most diverse states in the country, offering everything from a national forest to the nation's greatest city, a treasured UNESCO World Heritage Site, and a fan favorite Navy pier. And I'm proud to highlight Illinois' best attractions that you can find in every corner of our state, and that's our people.
We have a link to those trip ideas on our website, mystateline.com. One place to visit in Rockford is expanding its hours. Starting Wednesday, Discovery Center is eliminating its timed sessions. This means that guests can show up anytime and play in the museum as long as they want. During COVID, Discovery Center had temporary hours, but on Wednesday, those are going away. You can still buy advance tickets, but they are not required. At the White House today, the long-awaited return of a holiday tradition. President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted their first Easter egg roll since the pandemic began. Celebrities like talk show host Jimmy Fallon were among the 30,000 people on hand for the all-day event. As an educator, the First Lady put a school-like spin on this year's festivities.
The determined spirit of education is what we wanted to honor in this Easter egg roll. So we turned the South Lawn into a school community.
It means so much to see and hear the children and all the families show up to be here today.
The White House Easter egg roll is a long-running tradition dating back to 1878. Russia is intensifying attacks in eastern Ukraine. This comes as Ukraine's president is extending an invite to President Biden to visit the country. Rashad Hudson is keeping you connected to the nation's capital.
Good evening. The Pentagon says 4 flights of military aid is starting to arrive in Ukraine as part of the $800 million package approved by President Biden. Russian forces launched their first missile attacks on the western city of Lviv, killing at least 7 people.
We don't have a clear sense of battle damage assessment about what they were targeting and what they hit.
The city has become a refuge for thousands fleeing the east, as well as a major hub for receiving NATO-supplied weapons.
At this time, we don't have any indication that Western aid was targeted and or hit or destroyed.
State Department spokesman Ned Price says the attack is a sign of Russia's intensifying strategy.
It is undertaking a campaign of terror, a campaign of brutality, a campaign of despicable aggression.
While hosting the Philippines Defense Minister, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin thanked the country for standing against Russia.
Russia's unprovoked invasion of Ukraine has reminded us all of the importance of standing together to defend our core principles.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he has invited President Biden to visit the country, but the White House has said President Biden will not visit Ukraine, and Russia's increased attacks in the country make it even more unlikely. Russia's President Putin claims that the U.S. and its allies' sanctions are not working. The U.S., though, has not ruled out more sanctions for Russia. Reporting in Washington, Rashad Hudson, back to you.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
Well, after we had some of that accumulating snow overnight last night, we've seen a little bit of a break in that here this afternoon and evening. A lot of cloud cover, but we are seeing the return of some of those flurries here this afternoon. We are seeing those continue to move through as this system now pushes off to the east. Some of that wraparound, though, could bring us some lingering snow flurries into the night tonight. We take a look now at our SkyTrack camera sponsored by the Poplar Grove Airport. A couple flakes that are flying through there right now, so we are continuing to see those chances for some lingering snow flurries through the overnight. We've also been dealing with quite a bit of wind, with wind coming out of the northwest right around 20 miles an hour in most locations, gusting up to 30. We had a gust up to 40 miles an hour earlier in Galena. They have calmed down to about 38. We are still dealing with those wind gusts here through the rest of this evening into the overnight tonight, gusting to about 30. But after those wind gusts push out, we're looking at much calmer conditions throughout the day tomorrow as high pressure continues to move in. We are dealing with those winds because of, again, this low pressure system working its way out that brought us the snow showers compared to the high pressure system behind it. And this tight pressure gradient between the two is causing those winds to really pick up from the northwest. Now, as that high pressure moves in, that's when our winds will continue to die down. We are seeing those cooler temperatures, though, because of that northwest wind. We're getting temperatures down into the 30s here this afternoon and this evening. They'll continue to drop into the lower 30s by the time we wake up tomorrow morning. Checking in with a couple of our weather watchers. Mike, just north of Forreston, reporting 36 degrees as well as 1.4 inches of snowfall. That was an estimated amount based on what he had gotten from his precipitation. And Ben reporting 0.7 inches of snow up in South Beloit, temperature of 36, a dew point of 27. We are continuing to see those cooler temperatures and lingering snow flurries through the night tonight. Temperatures down to 32 degrees in Rockford. We're back up into the 50s again tomorrow, 51 degrees. A couple more chances for some sunshine, at least early on in the day. Let's time all this out with Futurecast. A couple of those scattered snow flurries and rain chances here through the rest of this afternoon. Still hanging on to a couple of those chances through the overnight, but then those push out and we'll get cloudier conditions for the rest of the morning. Then we get some sunshine at least early on in the day. A lot more cloud cover works its way in, continues with us over the next couple of days into Wednesday. That's the next weather system that could bring us some rain chances into the day there. So we check out extended Futurecast. There's that system coming through for Wednesday, bringing us more rain showers there into Thursday morning. So the pattern next week actually looks pretty warm after those chances for rain showers through the day on Wednesday and Thursday. We are watching, however, on Friday. This is where the warm front looks to currently set up for models. That'll keep the warmer weather at least to the south of us for the day on Friday. But then Saturday, as that warm front lifts a little bit further north, then we'll look at much warmer temperatures. After this week is over, end the month of April into the beginning of May, we're looking at much colder temperatures, though, to return, according to the Climate Prediction Center. Colder temperatures, at least to start off the 7-day forecast, back up into the 60s there for the middle of the week. A couple chances for rain, even thunder through the weekend with all that warmth and all that moisture working its way up. We're back, though, into the 60s to start next week.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
One playoff game for the Bulls in the books, and now they have to win 4 out of 6 to survive this series after losing last night to the Bucks. That's a tall order. I like the way the Bulls competed last night, especially after falling behind big early. I thought the game might be a complete blowout, but unlike the Bulls team that rolled over during the final few weeks of the regular season, the Bulls last night played hard. They played gritty and they showed some heart, but they shot poorly. Not sure their shooting can get much better in this series. The Bucks' length on defense is going to give them problems the entire way. DeMar DeRozan is going to have a harder time than normal getting good looks on those mid-range jumpers. And the Bulls simply haven't been a good three-point shooting team all season. The Bucks, on the other hand, I can see playing a whole lot better. I don't expect them to turn the ball over 21 times again. I expect them to shoot better than 26% from behind the arc and 65% at the free throw line. So while I applaud the Bulls' effort last night, I'm not budging from my original prediction of the Bucks in 5 and possibly in a sweep. Well, the first weekend of the USFL is behind us. I made it a point to watch a few minutes of action. Coming into this, I was intrigued by some of the league's unique rules and the way the games would be televised. I had high hopes for an entertaining experience. I came away a bit disappointed. The biggest negative for me from the game that I saw was the endless buzzing sounds of the drones flying around with cameras. Because there was no crowd noise in the stands to generate noise, and because there were microphones all over the field, the sound from the drones was loud, annoyingly loud. The drones offered some interesting shots, but the trade-off wasn't worth it for me. The helmet shots from cameras mounted on some of the players and refs was interesting the first few times, but once I'd seen a couple collisions from that perspective, that was really all I needed to see. Plus, the video quality from the helmet cams wasn't good. While the microphones on the players and on the sidelines picked up a lot of interesting sound, they also picked up a few choice words that shouldn't be heard on national television. And the quality of play wasn't that great. I'm so used to seeing NFL teams come out of the gate playing crisply after a spring and summer of camps that the play of these games looked disjointed and clunky in comparison. Certainly it will improve as time goes along, you would think. But on the opening weekend, it didn't provide me with a wow factor. So my takeaway, USFL, is this: keep experimenting, keep getting better, and find a way to block out the endless droning sound of the drones.
Jordan, we'll have a final look at weather in just a moment. But first, here's a look at what's to come on News Nation tonight.
It's no secret the Chinese government likes control, but now they're trying to influence life in America. We'll expose their tactics. Plus, Twitter employees are fired up over Elon Musk. When did employees start having a say in their leadership? That's On Balance. Here's Marnie.
Thanks, Leland. American truck drivers are the backbone of our economy, and all this week we're sharing their stories from the road.
Do you think Americans realize just how important truck drivers are?
Not at all. Not even in the smallest percentage.
Truck Week starts tonight on News Nation Prime.
That's all coming up tonight on the fastest growing cable news network in America, News Nation. It's available on the cable and satellite stations you see here. You can also head to newsnation.com. Jordan's back with an improving forecast because this morning did not feel very spring-like.
Well, I know you like the snow, but a lot of people aren't
not
really...
in April.
Not in April, at least, but not too many people were a big fan of snow. We are continuing to move that out of the area. We have a couple more chances for some lingering flurries overnight tonight, as shown there on our first one interactive radar from Rockford Auto Glass. Then our temperatures continue to climb up through the 50s, then into the 60s, even up into the 70s for Saturday. Stuck there at 77, though. A couple chances for some thunderstorms there through the weekend as well, something we'll keep an eye on in the week.
Thanks, Jordan, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 6.